Just changing my rubbers. It's Sunday. It's a good day to change rubbers. I've made videos on this before. I just had to wet up a rubber, soap it up a bit so I could just slide through these clips here that are really tight. Not all my clips are the same clips, so the very tight clips I need to put soap and water on. Okay, so while I'm here, I've done some of these tools already. But I've got about 4 more to do. Right, so let me show you a damaged rubber. So there is a 16-inch damaged rubber. Right. Now I've changed that. Obviously it needs changing, but most of the time I'm working in a stance like this. So even when I've got damaged rubber at the ends, very unlikely, unless it's too damaged, that I'm going to get lines. Now, I'm working like this all the time, even if I've got a good rubber that hasn't got any damage to it, I'm going to get lines. So one reason why I can use my rubbers when they're still damaged and not get the troublesome lines is because most of the time I'm working like this. So 2 good reasons to work in 40 degree is if I'm working above my head, right, I need that hook, right, and I've got a job that I do once a week. There's a sign very close to the glass, right, and I have to squeeze in between this wide sign. So I'm using it's a very big pane of glass. I'm using a 22-inch long channel, right, and I have to use a 40 degree to get right in and past this sign. I've got to do it one side, and I've got to come around and do it with my left hand and do exactly a mirror image, so I'll make sure I can get all that inside pane done where the sign sits. I can't do it in a 25, I can't do it in a 10 or any other degree, because it's going to hit the sign, I ain't going to move. Right, so I have to be really close, and I've got to really push my hand and arm all the way through, and sometimes I have to push my squeegee channel a little bit further if it's a bigger sign. There are other signs that I do. I'm just thinking of the one that I do every week. I have to push my channel even further so I can get that extra reach, and then do the exact opposite, the other side, using my other hand, and I can get the windows cleaned. And another good way of getting good results with a 40 degree on a pole is if you're really close to the glass, just like I need to be really close to the glass to get past that sign, and I'm on the pole, I need that extra hook to work. It's just like working standing back in a 25 or 10, right, very close. Then you want to use the 40 degree, but that's it. I don't want to be using the 40 degree for anything else. Most window cleaners you see using the accelerator is in a 40 degree, and it's not a good angle to be working in everyday use. Right, so I'm now going to put this rubber, pin it. I'm actually going to use pins on this one. The rest I'm going to use paper clips. They slide in really easy like that. I just need 2 on either side, and they go right. I'll do it this side. They go right in, push the rubber down. Oh, now bend it, bend that back, push the rubber down. It should just slide in. There we go, it's sliding in now. A little bit further. Make sure the rubber is in position, and that's done. Right, so when I'm changing all these rubbers over, the last thing I want to do is go to work tomorrow and find half of these rubbers are not working. They've got lines in, I'm getting problems. So what I need to do is, once I've done all this, I'm going to clean the windows on my house, and if there's any problems, I've got to address that and change the rubber over. The worst thing you do is when you put a new rubber in, you go to work and it ain't working. You got to stop what you're doing, especially on a Monday morning when it's normally a hectic sort of start of the week. That's the last thing you want. So here is a rubber that I've used up until Friday. It's got some damage to it, not too much. That's 2 weeks of work on that on that rubber. I've used that for 2 weeks, so I'm going to take, and it wasn't causing me any lines because I wasn't using a really steep angle. But if I was using a steeper angle like a 25 or a 40, then those lines would be coming a lot quicker than if I was using a 10 degree. All right, so I'm just going to swap this rubber over because now this side will be unused, and then now I've got paper clips. These are been reused so many times, I'm talking years, they've rusted. But the good thing about being rusted is they hold even better than a smooth new paperclip. Okay, so that's done. Put that in there and on to the next one. This is my 10-inch. I think I just need to change the rubber over. This one's hard rubber. I think this one's soft, warm and soft. Overall rubber, with consistency, I prefer using Mormon black rubber, hard or soft. I don't find the hard rubber particularly hard. It's probably the same sort of durability as a Eturay rubber. I just find overall the glide, the performance out of that rubber. By the way, it's a cheap rubber. It isn't anything. It's the same rubber as Unger and Black Diamond rubber. It just seems to work, but it doesn't last as long. So that's the damage on the ends there. 2 weeks worth of damage. Now, most of the windows I work on are not they're not flaky frames. They're not like concrete frames. Some of the windows I work on are 50 years old, but it's a combination of how I use the tools, how much pressure I apply, having soap added to the washer instead of in the bucket of water, technique being refined. That's what makes the rubbers last a long time. Plus using the right size tool for the right size pane of glass. Lots of window cleaners just have 1 or 2 sizes to use, and yep, you're going to damage your rubber very quickly. And if you're adding the soap to the bucket of water, you're definitely going to be going through your rubbers even quicker, or damaging your rubbers. You might not be going through your rubbers quicker because you just keep using the same rubber regardless, but you'll be damaging your rubber. So that one's done, and I think this is the last one. So that's 1 week's worth of work, but this is my main use squeegee, shop fronts and doors and patio doors, that sort of thing, on both types of commercial and residential. That doesn't need changing. There's damage to it, but it doesn't need changing, but I'm going to change it regardless, because now I know all these rubbers should be fresh and good to go for at least another week. This is hard rubber in here, but it does feel like soft rubber. It doesn't feel hard at all. And again, it's Mormon rubber. But Mormon rubber is the same as most Unger rubber. I don't think all Unger rubbers, black rubbers, are made by the same Chinese factory. But Black Diamond rubber is, again, the same formula. And a few other brands, but I don't actually know which brands, because it's all a secret, right? It's all a secret. I shouldn't be telling you these secrets. And this actually goes on to comments when people say either I'm lying or the demonstrations that I'm doing just doesn't work because they can't do it. How many times have I said in my videos in the past, don't do what I do? Listen to what I say, but don't do what I do. Do what I do once you've got the skills and the ability and the know-how. Other than that, just listen to what I say and use it as a recommendation. Because if you try and do what I do, you ain't going to get the same results. So many years ago, when people used to review rubbers, and they used to say, oh, Black Diamond's great, Mormon rubber's crap, or Ungle rubber's crap, or this, that and the other. All these lame reviews by people that think they know what they're talking about, but don't actually know what they're talking about at all. I used to say, well, you're talking about some rubbers that are all made with the same formula in the same factories. They're probably made all in the same sort of batches as well, because rubber does fluctuate over the year when it was made. But you're putting down one rubber and you're saying other rubbers are good when they're all the same rubbers. Just, all you do is talk. You think you know what you're talking about, you just don't know what you're talking about in the real world. And when I, as I said, when I show things, oh, you can't do that, this ain't possible, you're going to get lines, you're going to get bug marks. Well, you're not using a washer that's going to take the bug marks off like this one. This is my 8-inch, my most used pole tool, my most shown pole tool on the very high windows, or on the very tiny windows that are high up. And after working 11 or so years with these tools, and working many years prior to that using other brands of tools, modifying them and making them work better, but by not working like the regular window cleaner, that helped me do things that is just basically impossible that other window cleaners is able to do. And it's very easy to say, well, you can't do that because I can't do that. You're going to get bug marks here, you're going to get lines here. You can't work in 30 degrees, 35 degrees and get away with that. Just like the video that I made last week when I water-fed pole windows first, and then I wanted to make sure that the window glass was as best it could be before I leave the job. I did it with my pole, and many people said, well, you can have lines on that. I'm sure there would be lines on that if you guys did it, but because I did it, because I know what I'm doing, because I can work both sides of the pole just as easy as regular guys that can work one side of the pole, and all other things that are involved with refining the skills of working as a top level window cleaner, then I ain't going to get those lines. I am going to get those bug marks off if I can see them, because I've got the right tool for the job. Now, you can't buy these tools, you have to modify these tools. So if you don't have those tools, and you definitely don't have the skills, then just watch and appreciate instead of just criticize and say you can't do that, because I can't do that. Don't do what I can do or what I show, just listen to what I say. And sometime down the line, if you do what I tell you to do or suggest you to do, you will be able to do that, and you will be eating your own words and saying, well, I can actually do that because I stopped working how I used to work, and how you're probably working most of the time is like everybody else. You're working longer, harder, slower, forever, getting less results. Designing that channel was hard work, right? To get the refinements as good as the refinements of my skills at the time, I needed to get this channel to be as refined as how I worked, right? That was hard work. But actually making a tool work better than a wagtail, than a sawbow, than an Ettore and a Pulex, that's easy. Just like window cleaners, I advise, don't work like a window cleaner, because all they do is work longer, harder, slower, get less results. All these tools, all of them, other than this, is unrefined, made by mediocre window cleaners, and or made for the mediocre lousy performing window cleaner, right? So to get this channel to work in near enough all circumstances on all different types of windows, frames, heights, lengths, that kind of thing, because this has got to work not just in the hand, it's got to work very good on a pole. Zero detail, zero mistake. That took a long time to get refined, to get done. I'm not a manufacturer. I had to explain to a manufacturer, you know, from UK to Belgium, for it to be made in China. You know, that's a long distance to communicate. I'm not there right there and say, well, you've got to do this, you've got to do this, and then it will work. It was hard work getting this to work. The communication skills wasn't particularly great. My communication skills aren't great. I'm talking to people who can't really speak English, and they've got to speak to people that can't really speak good English over in China. So there was a lot of barriers there, but we got it to work in the end. It was really hard, and with the accelerated handle. But it's not really hard to make a tool work better than what else is out there. And again, it's not really hard to work better than the regular window cleaner. In both circumstances, all you got to do is not do what everyone else does. Don't work like everybody else. Don't work one-handed like everybody else. Don't use the same soap solution method that everybody else. Have some more refinement with your tool and technique. Don't make the tools that everybody else has made that are just qualify for lousy performing window cleaners. So hopefully that will answer some of your criticisms of why things that you try don't work. But when I show how to do it, and I say that's good enough, that works. I can't really get nose to the glass with my camera, but I know that window is done and dusted. Just because you can't see it as clearly as I can see it with my eyes, and it'd be even better if I could go from inside and look out from the top and to see if there is any mistakes there. After 11 years of using these tools and constantly getting better at it, I've got the confidence to say, yeah, that's good enough. Zero detail, zero mistake, and if there's any bug marks on it and I can see them, they're going to be gone super quick with that.